The stars shimmered through the wide observation deck of the exploration vessel Horizon. Captain Olivia Reed stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the uncharted moon grow larger as they approached. The gas giant it orbited filled half the view, its swirling storms casting purple and blue hues across the command deck. "Captain, we're entering stable orbit in 5 minutes," said Heather Clark from the navigation station. At 26, she was the youngest officer on board, but one of the most talented pilots in the Earth Space Force. Olivia nodded. "Good work, Heather. Any updates from the scanning team?" Daniel Murphy looked up from his communications panel. His fingers danced across the holographic display as data streamed in. Initial scans show breathable atmosphere and gravity at 0.8 Earth standard. Temperature readings are within human comfort range. "Perfect," Olivia said. "Looks like we might not need the heavy environmental suits after all." From the science station came a disapproving click of mandibles. Kavex, the Zrethian liaison officer assigned by the Galactic Council, moved forward on 4 of his 6 limbs. His compound eyes reflected the starlight in dozens of tiny mirrors. "Captain Reed, I must remind you that Council protocol demands full containment gear on all uncharted worlds," Kavex said. "The humans' tendency to rush into potentially hazardous situations is precisely why the Council insists on oversight for your expeditions." Olivia forced a smile. The amphibious alien had been a constant source of caution since joining their crew 3 months ago. The Galactic Council, a federation of 30 advanced species, still viewed humans as impulsive children, too new to the galactic community to be trusted on their own. "Noted, Kavex. We'll follow standard first contact protocols," she said, though she had no intention of wearing the bulky Council-approved suits if they weren't necessary. Human exploration had always balanced reasonable caution with practical efficiency. The Horizon settled into orbit, its engines humming down to standby mode. Olivia gathered her landing team in the shuttle bay. Daniel for communications, Patricia Nguyen handling scientific analysis, Alan Foster for engineering support, and Gregory Bennett for security. Kavex insisted on joining them, his exoskeleton gleaming under the bay lights. As the shuttle descended through wisps of pale clouds, Daniel suddenly straightened in his seat. "Captain, I'm picking up an unusual energy signature from the surface. It's not matching any known pattern in our database." Kavex leaned forward. "What is the nature of this energy?" "It's faint but structured," Daniel replied. "Definitely artificial, possibly some kind of emergency beacon or stasis field." Olivia felt a familiar rush of excitement. "Change course to investigate. Greg, make sure weapons are on standby just in case." "Captain Reed," Kavex interjected, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. "Council directives clearly state that unknown energy signatures must be reported before investigation. We should return to the Horizon and send the data for analysis." Olivia gave the alien a steady look. "That process would take weeks, Kavex. If this is a distress signal, someone could need immediate help. The likelihood of finding survivors in uncharted spaces—" "We're going to check it out," Olivia said firmly. "I'll note your objection in the log." The shuttle banked toward a rocky valley where jagged mountains cast long shadows across the dusty ground. Alan guided them to a landing near the source of the signal, the craft settling with a gentle bump on the alien soil. Outside, the landscape was stark but beautiful. Tall crystal-like formations jutted from the ground, catching the distant sun's light and breaking it into rainbows. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something like cinnamon. "Readings are stable," Patricia said, studying her handheld scanner. "The energy source is coming from that ridge about half a kilometer east." They walked in formation with Gregory taking point. The reduced gravity made each step feel unusually light, almost bouncy. After 20 minutes of hiking, they reached a narrow pass between 2 towering crystal spires. "Signal is getting stronger," Daniel said. His eyes widened suddenly. "Wait, it just spiked." Gregory raised his hand, signaling everyone to stop. Movement ahead. The team froze. Behind a fallen crystal column lay what was unmistakably a crashed spacecraft. Its design was like nothing they had ever seen. Organic curves blended with metallic segments. The hull a deep blue-black that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "This vessel," Kavex whispered, his voice uncharacteristically shaky. The architecture appears ancient, possibly pre-council era. They approached cautiously. Parts of the ship had been crushed by falling rock, but a central chamber remained intact. The entrance had been torn open, creating a jagged doorway into darkness. "Alan, lights," Olivia ordered. The engineer activated powerful beam lights illuminating the ship's interior. The walls were covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed directly. At the center of the chamber sat a large, cylindrical pod connected to what must have been the ship's power core by a web of translucent tubes. Patricia moved toward a control panel still showing signs of life. "This technology is incredible. The materials aren't in our database." "They wouldn't be," Kavex said quietly. "This appears to be architect technology, a civilization that vanished over 10,000 years ago." Alan whistled. 10,000 years and still powered? What kind of energy source could last that long? Patricia's scanner beeped urgently. "The pod. There's something alive in there." Olivia stepped closer. The pod's surface was frosted, but through the cloudy material she could make out a large shape. "Some kind of stasis chamber? Captain, we need to stop and report this immediately," Kavex said, his voice rising with alarm. "If this is what I suspect, we must not interfere." Daniel had found another panel and was carefully wiping away dust. "I think I can access some of the ship's records. The data structure is complex, but there are translation algorithms running automatically." Fragments of information appeared on the ancient screen. Daniel read aloud. "Subject containment. Last of its kind. Nexus predator." Kavex backed away from the pod, all 6 limbs trembling. "Nexus predator? Impossible. They were eradicated millennia ago." "What's a Nexus predator?" Olivia asked. "Death," Kavex whispered. "They were death incarnate, the most feared predators in known history. They destroyed entire civilizations before the early council united to hunt them to extinction." As if responding to its name, the pod emitted a low hum. Lights along its seams flickered weakly. "The stasis field is failing," Alan said, scanning the pod. "Power levels are dropping fast." "We need to stabilize it," Olivia decided. "No," Kavex cried. "We must destroy it while it sleeps. If that creature awakens, none of us will survive." Alan was already examining the power connections. "I might be able to reroute energy from our shuttle to maintain the stasis field until we decide what to do." "Do it," Olivia ordered. Alan worked quickly, connecting their portable power cells to the ancient technology. For a moment the pod's light strengthened, but then a sudden power surge caused the entire system to flash brilliantly. "Get back!" Alan shouted, thrown backward by a burst of energy. The pod's surface began to clear, the frost evaporating rapidly. Inside they could now see the creature clearly. It was massive, easily 8 feet tall even in its curled position. Its body was covered in obsidian-like scales that seemed to drink in the light. Most striking were its 4 amber eyes, which suddenly snapped open. "It's awake," Gregory said, raising his weapon. The creature unfurled slowly, powerful limbs stretching within the confines of the pod. As it pressed a clawed hand against the interior surface, Olivia noticed severe wounds across its torso, old injuries that had been preserved in stasis. Without warning, Olivia felt a presence in her mind, gentle but unmistakable. A voice that wasn't quite sound echoed in her thoughts. "Help. Me." She gasped, staggering back a step. The others looked at her with concern. "Captain?" Patricia asked. "It spoke to me," Olivia said, staring at the creature. "In my mind." The pod seal began to hiss open. "Kill it now!" Kavex shrieked, pulling out his own weapon. Olivia raised her hand. "Wait! It's injured. It asked for help." "It is manipulating. You. That is what they do before they feed." The creature's eyes fixed on Olivia's. In that gaze she saw intelligence, pain, and something unexpected. Fear. "My name is Vorax," the mental voice came again. "Please." The pod opened fully. Kavex raised his weapon, but Olivia moved between him and the creature. "We're bringing it aboard for medical treatment," she said firmly. You doom us all, Kavex whispered. Olivia looked back at the wounded being called Vorax. Maybe. Or maybe we just found something the galaxy has been missing for 10,000 years. The truth. The Human Who Shocked the Galaxy by Befriending Its Deadliest Predator, Part 2. Understanding the Enemy. The medical bay of the horizon had never been so tense. Captain Olivia Reed stood with her arms crossed, watching as the ship's doctor, Keith Rodriguez, carefully examined the wounded creature they had brought aboard. Vorax lay still on a reinforced table that had been hastily moved into the largest cargo hold. The regular medical bay was far too small for the 8-foot alien predator. Its obsidian scales rose and fell with slow breaths, and its 4 amber eyes followed every movement in the room. This is madness, Kavex hissed from the doorway, refusing to enter the room fully. You have invited death onto your ship. Olivia ignored the Zrethian liaison. How is our patient, Keith? Dr. Rodriguez looked up from his scanner. Fascinating would be an understatement, Captain. I've never seen anything like this physiology. The wounds are severe but appear to be healing already, much faster than any species I've encountered. Can you explain what you're seeing? Olivia asked. Keith adjusted his scanner. Its cellular structure is fluid, almost adaptive. The cells seem to communicate with each other at incredible speeds, and the brain activity is off the charts. I can understand you, came the now familiar voice in Olivia's mind. No need to speak about me as if I cannot hear. Olivia couldn't help but smile. Vorax says it can understand us. It's in your mind again? Gregory Bennett asked sharply, his hand moving toward his weapon. The security chief had insisted on being present along with 2 armed officers by the door. Yes, but it doesn't feel invasive, Olivia explained. More like someone talking in a quiet room. Your minds are open. Easy to connect with, Vorax communicated. Especially yours, Captain. Keith's scanner beeped. Captain, I'm detecting something remarkable. When Vorax communicates telepathically, there's unusual activity in your brain, too. Almost like your neurons are adapting to receive the signals better. Is that dangerous? Gregory asked. I don't think so, Keith replied. But it's unprecedented. Alan Foster entered the cargo bay carrying a tablet. The ship's engineer had been analyzing the data they'd recovered from the crashed vessel. Captain, you need to see this. I've managed to restore some of the ship's logs. The crew gathered around the screen as Alan brought up fragmented records. The writing was strange, but somehow translated itself as they watched. It's some kind of containment report, Alan explained. From what I can piece together, Vorax wasn't just any Nexus predator. It was being transported as, well, the closest translation would be Guardian Seed. Guardian Seed? Olivia repeated. Kavex clicked his mandibles nervously. Impossible. The Nexus predators were destroyers, not guardians. Every historical account confirms this. History written by victors. Vorax's mental voice came weaker than before. My kind, created to protect, not destroy. Patricia Nguyen had been quiet until now, observing everything with a scientist's careful eye. Captain, I believe Vorax is trying to share memories. May I attempt to record the neural patterns during communication? Olivia nodded. Go ahead. Patricia set up her equipment while Keith continued treating the alien's wounds. The rest of the crew watched warily as the science officer placed sensors near Vorax's head. Ready when you are, Patricia said to the creature. Vorax's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Will show truth. A moment later, Olivia felt a stronger presence in her mind. But this time, instead of words, she saw images, vivid scenes that played out like memories. She wasn't alone in the experience. Patricia gasped, and even Gregory took a step back, indicating they were receiving the same mental projection. The vision showed a peaceful world of towering crystal cities. Tall, elegant beings with 6 limbs and glowing skin worked alongside. Creatures that resembled Vorax, but in various sizes and colors. Together, they tended to ecosystems, repaired environmental damage, and protected smaller species. The architects, Kavex whispered, his mandibles trembling. The lost civilization. The vision shifted, showing the architects facing a terrible disease that began killing their kind. In desperation, they enhanced their Nexus Predator companions, giving them greater intelligence and adaptive abilities to continue their work as guardians after the architects were gone. Then came darkness. The architects dying, their cities falling empty. New species emerged and grew afraid of the powerful guardians. War broke out. The Nexus Predators, never meant for conflict, fought back to survive. Their actions were recorded by the emerging civilizations not as protection, but as aggression. The vision faded, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Olivia found her voice first. You were created to be caretakers, not monsters. Yes, Vorax confirmed. My kind misunderstood, feared, hunted until I alone remained. The last ship of the architects placed me in stasis when wounds became too great. Kavex was shaking his head. This contradicts everything in council records. If what this creature shows is true, then the founding species of the Galactic Council committed genocide against an innocent species. History is written by the winners, Alan said quietly. Not winner, Vorax corrected. Only survivor. Before anyone could respond, Daniel Murphy's voice came urgently over the ship's communication system. Captain, we have a problem. A council dreadnought just entered the system and is hailing us. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Kavex looked guilty. I sent a message before we left the planet. Gregory stepped forward, his face hard. You betrayed us. I followed protocol, Kavex insisted. The discovery of a living Nexus Predator requires immediate council notification. Olivia's mind raced. Daniel put the council on screen. The cargo bay wall display flickered to life, showing the stern face of a Marathal commander. The insectoid species was known for their strict adherence to council law. Human vessel Horizon, the commander said. You have illegally recovered a Class Alpha biological weapon. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. The weapon will be neutralized and your crew detained for questioning. That weapon is a living being, Olivia replied firmly. The last of its kind, and intelligent. We have reason to believe. Historical accounts of the Nexus Predators are wrong. The commander's compound eyes narrowed. Your species is too young to understand the danger. You have 30 minutes to comply or we will open fire. The transmission cut off. Captain, we can't fight a dreadnought, Gregory said quietly. And we can't hand over Vorax to be neutralized, Olivia countered. She looked at the injured alien, who was watching her with all four eyes. What would you do? My life not worth your crew, Vorax responded. We'll surrender self. Heather Clark, who had been silently observing from the back of the room, stepped forward. No, that's not how humans do things. We don't sacrifice friends. Friend? Kavex sputtered. You've known this creature for mere hours. And in those hours, it has shown more honesty than the council has in years of diplomatic relations, Olivia said. She turned to her crew. I won't force anyone to risk their career or life. If you want to leave when the council boards, I'll understand. One by one, the humans in the room straightened their postures. We're with you, Captain, Keith said, speaking for them all. Olivia nodded, a plan forming in her mind. Alan, can you modify our engines for a burst of speed? Daniel, find me a route through the asteroid field at the edge of this system. Gregory, prepare defensive measures. What are you planning? Kavex asked nervously. Olivia smiled grimly. I'm planning to show the galaxy that humans don't abandon their friends, even the ones with four eyes and a scary reputation. She looked at Vorax, who seemed to be studying her with something like wonder. Humans strange, the creature observed. Face death for enemy. You're not our enemy, Olivia corrected. And the council is about to learn that humans are more dangerous than any Nexus Predator when we're protecting someone we believe in. The horizon shuddered as it entered the asteroid field at dangerous speed. Captain Olivia Reed gripped her command chair, watching the massive rocks tumble past on the view screen. "Can't the council ship follow us in here?" she asked, turning to Daniel at the communication station. "Not easily," he replied. "Their dreadnought is 5 times our size. These gaps are barely wide enough for us." Heather's hands flew across the navigation controls. 30 seconds until we're deep enough for temporary cover, Captain." Behind them, Kavex paced nervously. The Zrethian liaison had chosen to remain with the humans despite his earlier betrayal. "The Council will not give up. They will wait at the field's edge or send smaller hunter ships after us. Then we better make good use of whatever time we have," Olivia said. "Status report on our guest?" "Vorax is recovering faster than expected." Keith's voice came through the comm system from the medical bay. "The creature's healing abilities are remarkable." Olivia nodded. "Good. Alan, any luck with those engine modifications?" The ship's engineer wiped sweat from his forehead. "Working on it, Captain. I've rerouted power to give us short bursts of extra speed, but our systems weren't designed for prolonged evasive maneuvers." The horizon shook again as a smaller rock glanced off their shields. Heather corrected their course with impressive skill. "We need a better plan than just hiding," Gregory said from the security station. "The Council has officially labeled us renegades. Earth has already received notification that we've gone rogue." "Perfect," Olivia muttered. "Cut off from home, hunted by the most powerful organization in the galaxy and harboring its most feared fugitive." Not exactly how she'd planned this exploration mission to go. The ship lurched suddenly to a stop, finding shelter in the shadow of a massive asteroid. "We should be hidden from their scanners here, at least temporarily," Daniel reported. "May I join you?" Vorax's mental voice touched Olivia's mind. She turned to see the massive predator enter the bridge, moving with surprising grace despite its size. The crew tensed, but Vorax remained near the doorway, seemingly aware of their discomfort. "Should you be walking around?" Olivia asked. "Healing well. Need to speak with all of you." Kavex retreated to the far side of the bridge, his 6 limbs trembling slightly. "Captain, allowing this creature full access to the ship is necessary," Olivia finished for him. "Vorax is the reason we're in this situation. It deserves to be part of the discussion about what we do next." Vorax's 4 amber eyes swept across the bridge. "Thank you for risking yourselves, but Council will not stop hunting. Need safe place to plan." Patricia looked up from her science station. "What about the Architect outpost you showed us in your memories? Does it still exist?" "Yes. Hidden facility in Cygnus Cluster. Contains records, evidence of truth. That's on the other side of Galactic Council space," Gregory pointed out. "We'd never make it without being intercepted." Alan entered the bridge, his uniform stained with mechanical fluid. "Maybe we would if we had better engines." He looked at Vorax curiously. "You were created by the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever known. Did they leave you with any knowledge that might help us?" Vorax tilted its massive head. "Can offer something, but requires trust." "What do you mean?" Olivia asked. "Can connect with ship systems. Blend my biology with your technology. Will enhance capabilities beyond design limits." The bridge fell silent. Alan was the first to respond, his voice a mix of scientific curiosity and concern. "You want to interface with our ship? How would that even work?" "Neural connection. My kind designed to adapt, bond with environments. Can extended technology." "Absolutely not," Kavex exclaimed. "Captain, the risk is too great. If you give this creature control of your vessel—" "Not control," Vorax corrected. "Partnership. Temporary bond to help escape." Olivia considered the offer carefully. "What exactly would this bond do for the ship?" "Energy signature masking. Micro jumps through subspace. Abilities your engines cannot normally perform." Alan's eyes widened. "That would give us a massive advantage. We could appear and disappear almost at will. Or it could fry our systems completely," Gregory countered. "Or worse, Vorax could take over the ship entirely." Heather, who had been quietly piloting until now, turned in her chair. I think we should trust Vorax. It could have harmed us multiple times already if that was its intention. Olivia looked at each of her crew members, reading their expressions. Fear, hope, curiosity, but mostly determination. Despite everything, they were still with her. Let's do it, she decided. Alan, work with Vorax to set up this connection, safely. As Alan led Vorax to the engine room, warning alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple small craft entering the asteroid field. Daniel reported urgently. Council hunter ships. They found us faster than expected. Evasive maneuvers, Olivia ordered. We need to buy Alan and Vorax time. Heather's hands flew across the controls, guiding the horizon deeper into the maze of asteroids. The ship weaved between massive rocks, using them as shields against the pursuing hunters. They're gaining on us, Gregory warned. These are specialized pursuit vessels. In the engine room, Alan worked frantically to prepare for Vorax's connection. The alien predator placed its clawed hands on the main power conduits. Ready. We'll begin neural bonding now. May cause discomfort in ship systems. The lights flickered across the horizon as Vorax closed its eyes. Strange patterns of energy crawled across the walls, flowing from the engine room throughout the vessel. On the bridge, the control panels rippled as if suddenly liquid. What's happening? Olivia demanded through the comm. It's incredible. Alan's voice came back, filled with awe. Vorax is actually merging with the ship on a molecular level. The technology is adapting, evolving. A hunter ship appeared directly in their path, weapons charged. Before Heather could react, the horizon seemed to shimmer and then jumped forward, passing through space in a way their engines should never have been able to achieve. We just made a micro-jump, Daniel exclaimed. Less than half a light second, but enough to evade them. Olivia felt the ship respond differently under their control. More alive somehow, more responsive. On the view screen, their pursuers looked confused, scanning frantically for their sudden disappearance. Our energy signature has changed, Patricia reported. They can't track us the same way now. For the next hour, the horizon played a dangerous game of hide and seek with the council hunters. Each time they were nearly caught, the ship would make an impossible jump or bend its energy signature to blend with nearby asteroids. Finally, they broke free of the asteroid field on the far side, away from the main council forces. The stars stretched before them, offering temporary freedom, connection, taxing. Vorax's mental voice came weakly to all of them. Need rest soon? You've done enough, Olivia assured the creature. We've escaped the immediate danger. Kavex had watched everything in stunned silence. Now he approached Olivia, his compound, eyes reflecting the starlight. Captain Reed, I must apologize. What I've witnessed today contradicts everything I was taught about the Nexus predators. Maybe that's the problem with the Council, Olivia said. Too many species accepting what they're taught without questioning. We need supplies if we're going to make it to the Cygnus cluster, Gregory pointed out. There's a small trading outpost in the Vega system where we might dock without immediate recognition. Olivia nodded. Set course, Heather. And everyone, be ready for trouble. The Council won't give up easily. As they prepared for the journey, Olivia visited Vorax in the engine room. The creature had disconnected from the ship's systems and looked exhausted, its obsidian scales dull. Thank you, she said simply. Vorax's four eyes blinked slowly. Humans strange. Take enormous risks for beliefs. That's kind of our specialty, Olivia smiled. Getting into trouble for the right reasons. If we reach Architect Facility, Galaxy will know truth. Council power may break. Is that what you want? Revenge against the Council? Vorax shook its massive head. Not revenge. Justice. Purpose. My kind created to restore balance, not destroy. Want to fulfill true mission. Olivia nodded, understanding. Then that's what we'll help you do, no matter what it takes. Little did she know how soon her words would be tested, or how high the price of that promise would be. The trading outpost on the edge of the Vega system was a crowded collection of mismatched structures, home to species from across the galaxy, who preferred to live beyond council influence. It was the perfect place for a crew on the run. Captain. Olivia Reed adjusted her civilian clothes as she led a small team through the busy marketplace. Vorax couldn't leave the ship. Its appearance would cause immediate panic, so Gregory, Heather, and Kavex accompanied her to gather supplies. "Keep communications open," Olivia reminded them. "If anyone recognizes us, we return to the ship immediately." They split into pairs with Heather and Kavex seeking fuel cells while Olivia and Gregory hunted for food and medical supplies. The outpost was filled with exotic smells, strange music, and dozens of languages being spoken all at once. Gregory kept his hand near his concealed weapon. "Council wanted notices everywhere," he murmured, nodding toward a display showing their faces, and a warning about a dangerous biological weapon in their possession. "At least they don't have an image of Vorax," Olivia replied. "That's something." Back on the horizon, Daniel monitored communications while Patricia and Alan worked with Vorax to prepare for their final journey to the architect facility. "The connection with the ship was remarkable," Alan said as he checked the engine modifications. "But we need a way to make it last longer without draining your energy." Vorax touched a control panel with one clawed hand. "Ship remembers pattern now. Connection will be easier next time." Patricia looked up from her scanner. "Vorax, the facility we're heading to. What exactly will we find there? Records, proof of architect plans, evidence of council deception, and perhaps more of my kind." This last thought caused both humans to freeze. "More Nexus predators?" Alan asked carefully. "I thought you were the last free one." But facility was designed as sanctuary. Others may have been placed in deep stasis. In the marketplace, Olivia and Gregory had nearly finished gathering supplies when a commotion erupted near the docking bay. A squad of armored soldiers moved through the crowd. Not council forces, but mercenaries. "We need to go," Gregory said tensely. "Those are Krell hunters. They take contracts from the council for high-value targets." Olivia activated her comm. "Heather, Kavex, return to the ship now. We have trouble." They hurried through back alleys, avoiding the main thoroughfares. As they approached the horizon, Olivia spotted Heather and Kavex already racing up the ramp, pursuing mercenaries just behind them. "Gregory, cover me," Olivia ordered, drawing her weapon and firing at the mercenaries to slow them down. The security chief laid down suppressive fire as she backed up the ramp. "Everyone aboard?" she shouted as the ship's doors began to close. "Yes, but they've locked down the docking clamps," Daniel called from inside. "We can't take off through the narrowing door." Olivia saw one of the mercenaries activate a portable shield generator, protecting his team as they approached. "Alan, we need Vorax's help with the ship now." Inside the engine room, Vorax placed both hands on the main power conduits. The lights dimmed momentarily as the alien consciousness flowed into the ship's systems. The mercenaries reached the hull, attaching breaching devices to cut their way in. Suddenly, the horizon shuddered. Its hull rippled with strange energy patterns, and the docking clamps shattered as the ship made a micro-jump, moving just 50 meters straight upward. "We're free," Heather shouted, rushing to the controls, "taking us out of the atmosphere." The horizon accelerated away from the outpost, pursued by 3 mercenary vessels. Council alerts flashed across all channels as the ship pushed its enhanced engines to maximum. "They're gaining," Daniel reported grimly. "Need full connection for faster escape," Vorax communicated to everyone. "Will require more energy than before." "Do it," Olivia ordered, entering the engine room. "Whatever you need." Vorax's form began to change, its obsidian scales flowing like liquid as it merged more completely with the ship's systems. The walls of the horizon pulsed with energy that seemed alive. "Captain," Alan said in awe, "the ship's molecular structure is actually changing, adapting." With a lurch that threw everyone off balance, the horizon vanished from normal space. The pursuing vessels fired at empty vacuum, confused by their target's impossible disappearance. When the horizon reappeared, they were in an entirely different sector. "What just happened?" Gregory demanded, helping Olivia to her feet. "Some kind of advanced jump," Patricia explained, checking her instruments. "We've traveled nearly 20 light years in seconds. Used Emergency system. Vorax's weakened voice. Touch their minds. Cannot do again soon. Dangerous. The alien predator collapsed, its form solidifying again as it disconnected from the ship. Keith rushed to check its condition. It's extremely weak but stable, he reported. The energy drain was substantial. Kavex approached Olivia, his compound eyes reflecting the emergency lights. Captain Reed, what Vorax just did should be impossible. No species in the Council has technology that can perform jumps like that. Without massive engines and preparation. The architects did, Olivia replied, and they shared their knowledge with the Nexus predators. Which is exactly why the early Council feared them, Kavex realized. Not because they were mindless killers, but because they possessed power that made the Councils appear primitive. The horizon continued toward the Cygnus cluster, making smaller jumps when Vorax recovered enough strength to help. After 3 days of careful travel, they reached a dense nebula that obscured their sensors. The facility should be hidden within, Vorax explained, now strong enough to join them on the bridge. Designed to be undetectable. As they navigated the colorful gases of the nebula, massive lightning-like energy discharges forced them to move slowly. After hours of careful piloting, a structure began to take shape on their sensors. That can't be right, Daniel murmured. Those readings suggest it's the size of a small moon, but as they emerged from a particularly dense cloud, they saw it. An enormous spherical station constructed of the same blue-black material as the crashed ship where they had found Vorax. Intricate patterns covered its surface, pulsing with soft light. The sanctuary, Vorax said aloud, using its actual voice for the first time. The sound was deep but melodic, sending chills through everyone who heard it. They approached carefully, scanning for defenses or signs of life. The station appeared dormant but intact, waiting for their arrival. "How do we get inside?" Olivia asked. Vorax stepped forward, placing one clawed hand on the ship's forward sensor array. A beam of energy shot from the horizon to the station, and a massive doorway began to slide open. "It recognizes you," Patricia said in wonder. The horizon entered a vast docking bay that could have held hundreds of ships their size. As they sat down, the doorway closed behind them, sealing them safely inside. "Life support and gravity are active," Alan reported. "The air is breathable." They disembarked cautiously, with Vorax leading the way. The alien moved with newfound purpose and energy, its massive form seeming more at home in these ancient halls. "This place has been waiting for over 10,000 years," Patricia whispered, scanning the walls. "The technology keeping it functional is beyond anything we've seen." Vorax led them to a circular chamber at the center of the station. As they entered, lights activated automatically, and a holographic display flickered to life. It showed systems, planets, and what appeared to be migration routes across the galaxy. "What is all this?" Olivia asked. "The truth," Vorax replied. "Everything the architects planned, everything the Council tried to erase." The alien stepped into the center of the room and raised its arms. The walls came alive with information. Historical records, biological data, and detailed plans for galactic ecological management spanning thousands of years. "This is why they hunted us," Vorax explained. "The architects created us to guide life throughout the galaxy, to prevent extinctions and encourage balanced evolution. But when younger species formed the Council, they saw our purpose as a threat to their control." As they explored the data, Daniel's comm unit suddenly activated. "Captain, multiple Council ships have entered the nebula. They've tracked us somehow." Kavex's mandibles clicked nervously. "They must have followed our energy trail from the jumps." Olivia turned to Vorax. "Is there any way to hide the station?" "No need to hide anymore," Vorax said firmly. "Time for Galaxy to see truth. Can broadcast all records to every Council world simultaneously, but requires activation of main transmission array." "What do you need us to do?" Olivia asked. The alien's 4 eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Array requires Nexus Predator as biological key. Process will drain life force significantly. May not survive. The humans fell silent, understanding the sacrifice Vorax was offering to make. Olivia stepped forward. There has to be another way. Wait, Heather said suddenly. Vorax, you said humans have unusually receptive minds to your telepathy. Could we help share the energy burden somehow? Vorax considered this. Possible. Dangerous for humans, but possible. Would require all of you to connect mentally with me as I activate a ray. Let's do it, Olivia decided without hesitation. We've come too far to fail now. As a massive council armada approached the station, the crew of the Horizon gathered around Vorax in the transmission chamber. They joined hands, forming a circle with the alien at its center.